Hey everyone, so I've been agonizing about making this video for like months, but I finally came to terms with it, so I'm ready to announce it. I'm leaving consulting for good. So I wanted to share my thought process in making this decision, the fears that I felt, how did I have the financial resources to even do this? Of course, present some mental models that you can use if you're thinking about it or you're just in the thick of your investing journey. Now, maybe you're burning out in your career and it's affecting your mental well-being. You're contemplating making this type of jump. Or maybe you are in the thick of your investing journey and that investing journey is a really lonely journey. So you need motivation and inspiration to continue moving on. Maybe you desire more in life, like you feel in the bottom of your heart that you're meant for so much more, that you can achieve so much in your life and doing something that really matters to you. And maybe you're wondering if a change is the right path for you. So if that's true, you definitely want to watch this video. Hey everyone, it's Tracy here. I'm a former engineer turned full-time investor managing a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio. But now in case you roll your eyes and of course you could do that because you make a lot of money. I'm just gonna say I actually started out making $36,000 a year many moons ago. So I just want to show you the art of possible if you put in the work and execute. Now there's no inheritance, no windfalls. I came from very humble beginnings. So it took time to get here, but I share all of this on my YouTube channel. So if you want to create multiple streams of income, build wealth, and ultimately live your best life, then you definitely want to hit my channel, hit the subscribe button and that bell notification button so you get the latest and greatest videos coming to you every single week. So let's get back with the video. Now, this is the second time I called it quits on a profession. And for some odd reason, this is just as difficult to make. It was a very, very hard decision. And because I had the same fears going on in my head, how can I give up on this profession? This is such a lucrative profession. It's a multi-six-figure business that's thriving. How can you be so crazy to give up so much money? Another thought I had was okay, my friends and family are gonna be so shocked when they hear this. And they're not going to understand. They're probably going to feel embarrassed when they talk to their family, friends, and their community about how lazy Tracy has become because she's officially unemployed for the rest of her life. How ungrateful am I? This is an amazing opportunity to make $300K plus per year for many, many different years, and you're just going to drop it just because you have some thoughts of how you can make more impact, that you could achieve more, that you want more in life. How entitled and selfish are you? So the usual thing I do whenever I feel stuck, I take a sabbatical and I recharge and I rethink about my life. And I also imagine what my grandma, Angine, she's like my second mom to me. She's been an amazing mentor all my life. And I think about her a lot. I know, I know she would have said, stop working so hard. I used to be like you. It's not worth it. Your life is worth it. So here's my key reasons for calling it quits in my consulting business. Number one, I can always create more money, but I can't create more time. I want to maximize my time with my kids, and I only have 6 more summers with them, and I have twins. That's a blessing in disguise, but I always think about when they leave the house, because it'll be them together. I can't believe it. Look at me. I'm crying because I'm seeing the future. Okay, I'm getting way too teary in this video. Anyway, so for me, I want to spend as much time as I can now that I only know I have 6 more summers with my kids before they go off to university. And maybe I'll be lucky. Maybe they'll live at home for many years while in university. But I'm just thinking I left home when I was 18. So I feel like maybe they might do the same. I realize a big part of my life, I've been hustling for a long time. After work, I average probably 70+ hour work weeks. Sometimes I felt like I was working every single day for 12 hours a day, 12 to 14 hours a day for the last few years, and didn't even include studying time in the wee hours. And this is my own doing because I wanted to work on so many different things. I wanted to create online courses. I wanted to deliver content to all of you on YouTube. I was managing real estate. I was writing newsletters, delivering investing workshops. I want to mentor young women. There's so many things I want to do, and I still want to write a book. And when you hustle like this, sometimes it can really be hard to stay in the present and enjoy what you have. And until it's too late, and I don't want to wait until it's too late. So I don't want to do that. Number 2 is opportunity cost. So the more time I was working as a consultant, the less time I have on Financial Nirvana Mama, building content for all of you. And of course, all the other projects and things I want to do in life. And a lot of this is just sitting in the back burner, collecting dust bunnies. And I have it in a plan because I'm a big planner. And so that irks me. And I feel there's more personal growth and upside if I stick with Financial Nirvana Mama. While I can't say the same for consulting, I feel there's no more growth and upside as an independent consultant because I'm peaking in my rates. And the work I was doing was getting more and more operational, which isn't mentally stimulating for me. And so the only way I could really scale my consulting business is actually build a firm, which I have no desire to do because that's adding more complexity in my life and moving away from the ultimate vision of my life. Number 3, creating more impact. Now, I've had a very fortunate life pattern where I always allowed my interests, my skills, and my goals and my values to drive the work that I do in my life and letting go of money and prestige, okay? And somehow it always works out. So I have to trust what my gut is telling me to do. I love what I do on Financial Nirvana Mama, and I feel like I can help more people directly and indirectly and create more impact by like sharing content on YouTube, by being a mentor, by delivering workshops, and it never seems like work to me. And I'm in a very fortunate place where my hard work has paid off because of my investment. And I reached my financial goals last year, which is a super special privilege. I totally understand, and I should own it. I made sure that there are enough resources in place for my family so that they are well taken care of. So I need to make this jump. If you're wondering how I put in the financial resources in place to make sure my family's taken care of, and specifically how I put myself in this special privilege mode, then let me give you a bit of my background. So I grew up in a typical first-generation immigrant family where my family had 2 low incomes. In some ways, it'd be considered poverty line, but I never felt like that. I knew that we didn't have a lot of money, but I never felt like we didn't have enough. See, I had a lot of good food. You know, my parents told me their house was paid off, and this is like paid off in less than 6 years. And I was able to take dance lessons. Now, this has been really instrumental and defining moment for me, learning that my parents were able to raise a family of 6 because it taught me that it doesn't really take a lot of money if your bills are low. And you don't need a lot of money to raise a family if you're a great saver and you're able to prioritize what's important to you, which in my family was good food. And we actually, all 3 of the kids joined extracurricular activities. So since in my early 20s, I've been a massive hustler. The engineering was really grueling, but it taught me one thing because I had to work while I was in engineering to offset these expenses. And that work ethic carried on for a very long time. So I was used to the grind. So while I was working as an environmental engineer, I was only making $36,000 a year, which is like, you know, and so I had to maintain side hustles to help pay off my student loan debt because I didn't like debt. I wanted to pay it off as soon as possible. But once that was done, once I wiped off my student loan, I carried on with the hustle into different projects. I was doing DIY renovation projects. This is a time when HGTV was so popular, and I invested in real estate. I was averaging buying a rental property 1 per year for 10 years. I was learning the ropes as a property manager because I had my rental properties to manage. And I convinced my husband to partner up in this whole thing. And it was a lot of sweat equity because we didn't have a lot of money. But at that time we thought, hey, we are young. There is no responsibilities really. We don't have any kids. So this is the time to take the biggest risks, because in our minds, like, there is no risk because we're still kind of poor actually. So we lived off of one income, which was my husband's. And then all of my income was used to invest. And we tried to aim about at least 20K, 30K per year. And eventually I made more money. I eventually made $70,000, but no matter how much money I made sure that we still lived off of my husband's income, okay? Which was less than mine, okay? Now I'm so lucky that I have a partner doing this. Like, my husband fully supported me in my complete wackiness, and he enjoyed the handyman work, and he left all the investing and strategic planning to me. So at 35 years old, I quit engineering, and I worked my way up to making, I think, 110K a year at that time. And I was working in the government. Okay, so this is a big deal because it's a big decision. I was brought up in my family to actually work in the government. They always talk about the pension, the securities. The thing is, I didn't join the government that way. I joined the government because they had the coolest environmental engineering projects. So for me, it was a very scary decision because I felt like, oh, I'm letting my family down. Like, how could I be so stupid? You know, I'm walking from golden handcuffs, this golden pension. Like, who does that? Okay. Now, because my husband and I had built up a real estate portfolio, we look like paper millionaires, but we decided, you know what, one of us can take the risk and do something different. And we survived for so long on just one income, on his income, not mine. And so it didn't seem like a risk anymore. So at the time, we only collected $2,000, like, cash flow. And you know how rental cash flow, it's like lumpy. Okay, it's not like consistent. But it was enough to cover a mortgage, property taxes, and grocery bill. And I was able to refinance my mortgage to extend the amortization so that our payments were so much lower, because we actually owned a home that had a very little mortgage because we always lived under our means, and we were house hacking too, okay? So my kids were under 5 at that time, and I had no plan, okay? I had no plan after I quit. But I knew I had to do it. Like, it was just in me. I had to leave, and I wasn't happy. So I decided to take a sabbatical. And I spent a lot of time with my kids before they actually went to school. Then I ventured into consulting. Now, I became an independent consultant for 6 years, and I worked myself up to making 300K a year, okay? Now, that's super exciting because I was working on really cool projects, like IT projects, nothing related to engineering. And I worked my way up to more and more difficult projects until, yeah, I was getting to my peak hourly rates. And the good news is that I didn't work nearly as hard in consulting. Like, my max hours were like 50, okay? And this is like 50 hours per week. And that was like max, okay? So I rarely did it. I was like working probably 37.5 or 40-hour work weeks, which was pretty sweet. So of course, because I had so much free time and everything else in my life was getting operational, I added one more hustle, and that is I started Financial Nirvana Mama. And during this time, I also focused a lot of time on stock investing, learning the ropes about how to invest in stocks. And I invested heavy, and I did okay. I also figured out how to make 6 figures of passive income using stocks, like through dividends, options. And that doesn't include my rental property, investment income. It doesn't even consider the compounded returns of my stock portfolio. Now, there's this really great book that I keep referring to. There's this quote that I love, and it's from the book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. And she's a palliative care nurse, and she did this study of people who were near death, and she asked them one question: what is your biggest regret? Now, the overwhelming response of people near the end of their journey is that I wish I had the courage to live a life true to me, not the life expected of me. And this is exactly along the lines of what my grandma has been telling me all along. So my life model is living a life of no regrets. Now, I know I'm in a very super privileged position to have all these opportunities and this income. And it was a combination of hard work, luck, and a great partner who's so understanding of my wackiness in jumping into this investing journey. And for so many years, cool with me making these types of crazy decisions to buy back my time. And so that I can work on projects that give me massive fulfillment, that fills my cup every single day to create more impact in the world. Now, I know some of you are desiring what I have and probably thinking there's no possible way you could do it, okay? But I challenge you, please, I challenge you to think differently. Now, a key theme of my history has been career capital. So what I mean is that I'm always yearning for interesting work and building up my skills at the same time, taking up harder and harder projects. Now, this led to more opportunities to earn more because naturally I became more skilled while doing this work because I was liking it. And I put in a lot of energy, which meant I built up my career capital to earn more along the way. Now there's this book I love reading, as you know, I'm a nerd. And this book actually talks about this exact same thing. Now the book is called Be So Good That They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. Cal Newport presents compelling and scientific evidence where he shows that the key to one's career success, to find out what you do well in life, is where you have built up your career capital. And then you put all of your effort and energy into that direction. Now, another key theme of mine was productivity, okay? And using my time wisely to learn to invest consistently. Now, I know some of you are gonna say, there is no way I can find extra time, but I challenge you on this, okay? If you have time watching movies, listening to podcasts, or just drinking coffee and reading the news and looking at social media or whatever extra miscellaneous activity that you do, then you do have time. See, I had twins, demanding career, tenants, financial Nirvana mama, YouTube channel. I was creating content and I still found the time. So I challenge you, can you just be creative about it? Maybe you can integrate working out with listening to podcasts. Or maybe you could just sleep less, like max 7 hours a day. Or maybe you could be more efficient with your cooking, like cooking simpler meals, which happen to be healthier anyway, to save you the extra hour or two every single day. And then use that time to learn the ropes of investing, to invest consistently, to make your money work harder so that you have more options in life and financial flexibility. Now that's a small price to pay for freedom. Now another key theme to my journey is saving more. Now if you feel like you have too many expenses, can you think of ways to reduce your expenses? Well, maybe you can downsize all the stuff that own you. Can you let go of your ego? Maybe you can drive an old beater instead of that BMW. See, I drove a Nissan Versa even though I was making six figures, 200K, 300K, it didn't matter to me because I honestly didn't care about cars because they're a depreciating asset, of course, except for my Tesla. And I didn't buy my Tesla until like in 2020. This is like, you know, I left it until I had the financial resources to be able to do that, okay? Here's another way. If you have a partner, can you live off of one income and learn to invest the other income and do this consistently for years? That's also another key theme of mine, okay? Now, if you have a family and maybe you're just not enjoying your job and you're killing your health and your mental well-being, yet at the same time you have family obligations, you have a lot of expenses because you have kids, I challenge you, can you downsize your home? Because that is probably one of the biggest expenses. Because if you can downsize your home, well, maybe you could take a pay cut and take a less stressful job. Or maybe you could do some house hacking and help reduce your expenses because you have tenants to subsidize your mortgage. Sure, your ego is going to hurt a bit, but I think your health, your mental well-being, your time freedom is more important than a bruised ego. Now, if you're on the fence about whether or not to quit your job or to make a pivot in your life, there's an easy peasy mental model that I found super, super helpful. It's called the 3 C's. This is off of a career coach named Alex Duran. And this is how it works. You decide either you should change jobs or do a career move. And it's along the lines of these 3 C's, which is challenge, competency, and curiosity. So to decide if a career change or a new job or to pivot is the right move, he says, look at your competency, the baseline skills for your job. And then, do you feel like you're challenged enough, meaning that you're being pushed outside of your comfort zone so that you're growing? And do you feel genuinely curious about the position, like you really want to learn more, you're intrigued about the work and you want to keep learning? If you find any one of these C's missing in your current job, then maybe you should address it by looking for a new job. Now, if you're missing more than one C, like 2 C's or 3 C's, then this is something like you need to seriously consider a bigger change, like a pivot, maybe consider something different. If you are wondering if you can financially afford to quit, well, I'm going to help you out. I have a template. It's called the Financial Freedom Roadmap, which goes through all these stages that I go through. And it tells you, what you can do at a high level so that, of course, you can customize a plan for yourself because obviously you know yourself the best. So check out the link below, check out the Financial Freedom Roadmap, sign up and you get that template to you and you can start building your own roadmap. So I'm going to tell you, the first time I quit my job, I only had enough cash flow to cover my mortgage, my property taxes, and my grocery bill. And it was stretching it. So I decided to refinance my mortgage to extend the amortization back up to 30 years, and it became much smaller payments. And I did this purposely just to give me a margin of safety. Now, eventually I converted the house into a rental, but that's like not even important to this discussion. Okay, now the second time I left, which was, obviously 6 months ago, I collected enough cash flow from my passive income sources, meaning just from my stocks actually, which is dividends and options, to cover 2 times the monthly expenses that I have. And I never accounted for my husband's income. And I did this purposely because my husband's income is a margin of safety. So that's a very simple model. So everyone, I got this template ready for you. I found that breaking up the financial freedom stages into these bite-sized chunks made it so much easier to go through these stages. Now, of course, actually making the decision and taking sabbaticals or quitting your job, of course, is still, it's not just based on numbers. In the end, it will be based on your mindset, a psychological side. But I think that, hey, let's be practical. I got this roadmap for you. So all you need to do is check out the links below, sign up, and you get your free template so that you could build your own financial freedom roadmap and customize it for yourself. Anyways, I hope you found this video super helpful. I've been agonizing about it for months and I finally did it. I'm just so happy to get this video out. Now, if you want to know how I felt leaving my engineering job, you should check out this video up here. Now, if you want to learn more of the tactics and the strategies, a bit more detail, and of how I went through the financial freedom stages, and I go through all of that in this video up here. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.